Hello and welcome back to my tutorial series. This time we will be working on an old car. As you can see, we have a Civic here. This would be the car from Need for Speed Underground 1, and we will be improving it. The goal is to get it detail wise somewhere around Need for Speed Carbon and Pro Street, but as you will see, it's quite a bit of work, so let's get straight to it. First, I would like to show you the original car that wasn't worked on. As you can see, it's pretty low poly. Sharp lines are used to actually give it a form, otherwise everything would be just really weird looking. I could show you here on the headlight. So for example, right now it's still sharp, you know, these edges, it actually looks like a light even though it's really boxy. But if we were to remove those sharp lines, then it will become smooth. But because it got smooth, it actually lost all of its shape. This is the issue with low poly models, that's why sharp lines are used. Good, so this is the unmodified car. Then we have a massively improved car already, but this is still the stock body. This is already, let's say, a pre-alpha mod for Most Wanted that the community minded mind is doing. It will be available on as a download at some point when it's fully ready. Probably it will be including all the white body kits, so that's gonna take a while. The white body kits will be from Underground 2, since there is 4 and in Underground 1 there is just 2, so we chose Underground 2, but pretty much the car is identical. As you can see, we did fit Pro Street interior, modified it. These are Pro Street headlights, but also massively improved. Like I can, for example, show you the Pro Street hatch. As you can see, these are the lights. They're already a big improvement over the Underground 1, but still, you notice these sharp edges, like those need to disappear. Same for this, just 3 faces here. Overall, it's a good light, especially if you look from this range. When you're playing in game, you won't really notice it unless you're really paying attention. But if you have a look at the improved one, it's pretty damn smooth without going too crazy on the poly count. So yeah, the stock body would be done, but today we will be working on wide body one. So we should be working on fender. Like the front fender is already almost done. This area needs to be still connected. Then I have to get rid of the sharp edges, add like 2 more loop cuts, make it like rounded, like for example you can see here. Otherwise this was just there was no line like this, it was just one flat face. Now there is more faces, as you can see this. If we go back, you see what I mean. So this needs to be addressed. Then we will subdivide each of those so it will become much more round, like this for example here. As you can see, something isn't right here. I actually didn't connect the inside wheel arch yet, so this needs to be addressed later on, but for now this would be what we will be working on. And of course also the headlight. Like notice if we go to the other car, so this is the final light we will be using. This is still the Underground 1 but the improved light, so I'll be swapping out this and installing this one, but we will have to work around all these sections in order to make it fit. So this will probably wrap up this video, and maybe we will talk also probably about this, like what could be done. I won't really do it because I already had a little bit of play with it, but it didn't come out right, so I'll have to try my luck a couple more times until it's done, but the idea pretty much is subdivide each of these, so it will be one more vertex here, 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 and everywhere else, so it gets rounded up time by times 2, and then again also get a loop cut here and there, so it will be a bit more rounded. Like if we look at this car, for example, we will do just this, exactly this will be the case all over this place. Same goes for this. Sharp lines will have to disappear partly, like maybe this one will stay with this, but this upper part should be removed, sharp line I mean. Also this one inside can stay, and yeah, that will be pretty much the video. Another time maybe I will also make one more vid on this rear bumper, which also needs work, especially this area is a bit strange in this part. I'll have to figure out what exactly I want to do with it. I know, like for example, that it will be double exhaust, so one more will come here, and this needs to be modified a little bit. It will look like Need for Speed Carbon technology in terms of exhaust and covering it then, but yeah. I have a couple pictures here. Yep, so we are working on this body kit right now. As you can see, it's a little bit low poly. Well, here you can't really tell that much because it's small image, but in game you will notice. And yeah, one more thing before we start. Yep, as you can see, we are working on something else. This would be the actual Le Mans Quattro, which we didn't get in carbon because I don't really know, but this is the actual car. It's a community effort. So for example, I did the front, this piece of the mirror, then a friend of me made this little piece, which is a fucking pain in the ass. That would be TMCharly, like really difficult piece. It doesn't look like it, but nightmare. And Provo was kind enough to do the rear section, exhaust, bumper and everything. And currently community minded miner is texturing it, and he will also make a mod out of it once it's done. And here we also have the Civic, like stock body, as you can see, fully textured, as a Need for Speed Most Wanted mod. Looks way better than the original Underground 1 car for sure, but yeah, it will take some time before it's release ready. But now let's get straight to the work. I'll be watching the other car on my left screen, so I have a little bit of orientation. So yeah, let's get to it. First we could, for example, import the headlights. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hide these, go to this layer, grab those, they're already in a pair. We hit Shift D, duplicate, hit M and move to layer 1. Orientation and everything should be perfectly fine because it was already adjusted multiple times before, so yeah, it fits. But for example, if we, yeah, this is the panel gaps, have to hide those. Now if we look at it, there should be some issues. As you can see, for example, this area has been also improved. It still could be improved, but let's say it's good enough for now. I mean, you can go really crazy into detail, but there's no point. As you can see, we have this to work on, but this isn't really finished, so that's why there is gaps. This was changed in headlight area, this here also, then there should be more that we can't really see, but we will see later on. If you rotate, for example, you will see more, so we have to address all of this. Maybe hide it for now. This is a fixed, yeah. Let me check if I have a seam. I'm not sure. Actually, let's put a seam around it just in case. Otherwise, I will have fun separating stuff, which isn't all that great. And we will do the same for the other piece. Let me see. No, actually, as you can see, it's a whole piece. When I was connecting and cutting stuff, I didn't separated it. It will be cut. The front bumper part will be cut somewhere around here, I believe. I'll decide it later on. It's not important right now because it will stay as one unit for now, but later on I will probably cut here. The fender is definitely cut here, down there. Side skirt, I'm not too sure at the moment if it will be just together with the fenders like this, and then the door would be separate piece, then joined together back to the bodywork. But yeah, for now it can stay like this. Actually, it has to be connected and remove tabs so you can work on it. Otherwise, you can't really join together stuff, and stuff will be overlapping each other, and it will be really strange experience. So you have to have it connected together. But also, it's really nice if you have seams. I, for example, later on have to manually select all the faces that I need and then just, you know, separate them. But I won't include this in the video, it's not that important. First of all, let's just mark a seam around this area so we can separate the hood later on. I'm not sure, actually maybe we can just do this. Yep, works. Damn it. There you go. Mark seam. Let's see if everything is like it's supposed to be. We'll remove tabs. Now we want to select the hood, separate it, and it works. That's what we want. I will separate these and hide them because we don't really need those. Or nah, they can stay. They're not in the way. Good. We'll just have a look on the other model 1 second. I'll just join together the other body. Okay, so these sharp lines will stay, those will not be removed. And now it's time to play around with the headlight. That should be good fun. I need to delete the old one. Now let's see. We will be performing snapping in this case. And then probably subdividing some places, I believe. Yeah, here we will have to subdivide, for example, because realistically we have to connect, for example, this vertex here, actually the other way around, this vertex to this. Here we will need one more face, so it will connect to this. This maybe will work or not, otherwise we just subdivide something here and connect it there. I'll just do it exactly like on this stock body car, which I have on my left screen, which you can't see actually. Now you can see it, so we will do it exactly like this. But yeah, the light itself has to be intact, so we are snapping the bodywork to the light, not the other way around. Now it's time to connect it to the body, but first I'll just put a seam around it. I'm pretty sure it already is assigned, but just to make sure, because we need to separate it later on, and believe me, you don't want to do it by hand. Good, so now we should be ready. Yep, everything works. Let's see. Oh, maybe now this is actually this area was actually a fucking pain in the ass. Like getting the reflections correct. I mean, otherwise you would just snap it and done, but it's all about reflections, which you will see in matcap, which I will have to use for the final finish to see if everything is like it's supposed to be. So maybe just start here, yeah. Just gonna have a look what goes where, and then we will begin. I really want to just do it exactly like the last time I was working on this. Good, so let's snap this to that vertex. In order to do that, you probably have this magnet turned on, it will be red. Just have to disable it. We will go for vertex mode and closest. Then you just press, basically grab, then we will go in the order X, Y, Z axis, and you hold control in the process. So let's go. So G, X, hover your mouse over the vertex you want to assign, drag the other one, and just press Control, left click and done. So we snapped in X axis, now let's do Y axis and Z. And just do it like all three, so I'm pretty confident that everything is where it's supposed to be. Otherwise you could run into some issues potentially. For example, this area isn't finished, especially if you look at the finished car. Still will need later on to do this whole section. Actually forgot about it, so I can't really copy paste, recreate everything like it was before. So we will improvise for now, but in the end it will have to be changed. It can't stay like this. We'll just subdivide this, first connect it to there, and repeat the same snapping process. But like I said, it won't stay like this in the end. It has to be fixed, just like the other one. Gonna subdivide this, connect there. This, and let's change the zoom a little bit because it's getting annoying. Yeah, fuck. Actually, I think I don't need this one. Yep, I don't need that one. We will continue. Maybe this direction. Something is not connected here. Yeah, as you can see, right there. This vertex needs to be connected there, and right now it's not connected. So we not placed. Ah, fuck. Yeah, this happens if you don't pay attention. Actually, can't go back like I wanted to. Oh well. Just snap this back. So this is pretty much more for demonstration than the final product, which will usually takes a lot of fine-tuning and time, which we don't really have. Even if this will be a 1-hour video, I won't really have the time to make it up to my standards, especially like I mentioned, this area needs to be redesigned and pretty much everything around it, and the whole front bumper. So yeah, but for now we'll just do the headlight. Example, this needs to be connected also, so just for now this should be fine. Maybe solve that. As you can see, everything is overlapping. Sometimes it's difficult to get the edge you want. For example, now we can find it. Then you go to vertex mode. Pretty sure, as you can see, it's this one. Then I advise you first to connect with J. So now you have actual faces. Otherwise, sometimes it's really overlapping stuff if it's just a vertex and not connected together into a face. Like I said, this won't be the final product because it needs a lot of fine-tuning before it's actually ready. And I also will always double check my work before I hand it over to, let's say, community-minded miner for texturing and making a mod out of it. For example, here we selected the headlight. It's pretty confusing, but we will not be editing the light. We have to select the body work, which in this case is achieved if you go to face mode. Now we go to edge mode, subdivide, and almost sure, yeah, we selected the right one. Because if you were to modify the headlight on the next model, it wouldn't fit anymore. Well, I have a backup just in case, let's say from the stock body car, but otherwise it wouldn't fit. Then you would have to modify in this case, the hood on this vertex for every other body kit. Let's say we still have to do white body 2, 3 and 4, so you would have to modify this vertex for those bodies as well, because it won't fit. So that's why you have to always pay attention, take your time, and then double check just to make sure. So as you can see, this way we will pretty much connect the body together to the headlight, and I'm not gonna do everything right now because it will take too long, especially because some areas will then be messy and the reflections won't really work. I was playing a lot with this when I was creating this actual headlight, so now it's as good as I can get it for now. But yeah, in the end it will be pretty much just like this, and the reflections will also be quite good. So that's why I use matte cap. It's really important. For example, this was a really big problem. Now it kind of flows like it's supposed to flow. It then joins there, like I did it like this. Otherwise, also the low poly model ends like this, and I had quite some trouble. Also, this area here is a little bit of a mess in reflections, like right here, but I couldn't get it better than this. Also, this subdividing everything was quite a task, especially this inside piece. This was just fucking nightmare. But yeah. Now let's go to the fender. So like we said before, we will be adding this and leaving this one alone. This one is stock, and this area is also subdivided right here. Yeah, so we will subdivide these, and those are already cleaned up the space. So before it was like this, triangular, and it has to be like, we call it trees, but yeah, triangular faces because the game engine actually just accepts those. It can't be another type of face. So the way I would do this is first subdivide like this, and then do the other one. So we'll do just this for now. I'll just do half of it, and yeah, so right now it's still boxy, even though there is double the faces, but it's still boxy because you have to adjust those. I'll try 2 methods and we'll see which one works better. First I'll just select all and see if it will work correct. Actually, we will be selecting every second one because those were subdivided, not all of them. Just curious if it will work like I want it to, otherwise we will do it another way. But let's see. So one way it could be scale, but not really in this case. If it was a full circle it would work. It would be scaling like up, the circle would be expanding, so we would get these vertices right here, so the circle would be much more round, but that is not the case right here. So we will be selecting these vertices and then hit double G, double tap. Also not. Fuck. Perhaps, wait, maybe. Also not. Damn it. Let me see. Yeah, actually I think I will have to do it like in a row, like this. Like now I can, yeah, now I can. I would actually prefer to do it the other way, but it's not going. Probably somebody will know why, but yeah, I'll have to do it like this. And we will go to this position, more useful. Actually, something is still happening here. What's up? Oh, now I know what is it. The other side. This got me confusing. I thought what the hell, but yeah, it's the other side. Everything is fine. We'll just run it up like this with eyesight, but then again later on it's a lot of fine-tuning until it looks right. Also hold shift for more control, so I can have slower movements. As you can see right now, something is still not going like it's supposed to. Nope, not really. Damn it. So maybe I'll just have to do separate. Also not nice. Oh, there you go, that's the issue. We have to connect, yeah, we have to connect the faces first. That's why it's not working. And again, this is slowly becoming messy. Maybe there would be another loop cut to fix that. If we look at the other model, which would be on this page. One moment. Oh, there you go. If we look at this one, I had to connect accordingly because I needed the reflections right. If you just connect by feel or just connect it just somewhere where you think it's gonna work, then probably the reflections won't work. But in this case, they aren't too bad. So there is a little bit here and there, but in game and when the car has paint, it's not really visible, so it's alright. But sometimes there is really ugly reflections and you really have to take care of that one. So we did connect, I think, body one. Still have to connect this one. And now we should be able to just grab it like before, and yeah, there you go. Still something weird. Nah, not really. Not going like it's supposed to go. But we'll do it by hand then. Whatever. You can see it's quite a bit of fine-tuning in the end, but you really have to take your time if you want to have clean results. So if you look at it right now, it's quite a bit more round. It still will need polish, but it's already much better than that one. You could also go and subdivide it again, but then you would have trouble around this upper area, because you still have to connect everything. You have to have trees, like 3 faces, not those quads. Those will be then joined together again into trees. So now we could subdivide these and get a line. Yeah, we have to do that one now, and then we will do that section and just connect all those faces into trees, and this will be the Fender. But from there you will be fine-tuning it, because it's still far from the final product, and we are just doing half of it because it takes a little bit of time to get everything done. And still this area will have to be addressed, because right now you can see really ugly reflections. Without matte cap, it's, well, if you really pay attention you can still see it, otherwise it's not really that visible, but with matte cap you can see it really good. So that's why I use it always when I'm modeling, modifying, improving. It's a must-have. Now the bottom section. I believe this will work with the GG. You'll see in a moment. Oh, one more thing, you could also, as you can see, control. Let's say I select this one and I want to go to here, press control and everything will be selected. Then I can press again control and it works. Otherwise I'm holding shift while I'm clicking, not that convenient. Yeah, in this case it works just fine. If I'm eyeballing the other Fender, it's somewhere around this area, so let's do it like this. And we will have to pull it out a little bit, but we're gonna use a trick here. Just select the faces. Oh fuck. Yep, I noticed something isn't right. There was a mistake somewhere in the process and I didn't really notice it until it's too late, but otherwise this doesn't happen, so we'll have to ignore this for now. But yeah, it's a bit of a hassle to fix later on, but yeah, let's just ignore it like it's not here. So like I said, we will pull out the Fender just a little bit and the shading should work in that case. Now the only problem here is exactly this, which is not nice. And like I said, this will not happen in your case, but in my case I didn't pay attention somewhere, so that's what happens. That was probably when I was grabbing it, like grabbing the whole group, then this happened. Pretty much that's where it happened. So now with hand I can't really get it back to the original smoothness, and this would be a reason to restart the project, but because we are just doing this for demonstration, it's fine. Otherwise, if this was the final car, I would restart, of course, because this is unacceptable. It has to be done professionally. So now that we have pretty much the Fender like we want it, like I said, maybe you would want to subdivide it again, but I think it's more than enough in this area. Then just fine-tuning, for example, this could still use a little bit more if it will let me. Damn it. Maybe G, Shift Z. Yeah, like a little bit more. Not really. But yeah, if you wanted, you could still play around with it. It depends, or you do it right the first attempt when you're playing around with it. But now we still have to do trees, triangular faces, that is. So I usually follow the pattern of the original car, so I'm just looking at the car on my left, because it has to be a certain pattern, otherwise the reflections are messed up and you don't want that, like we noticed right there. That will have to be addressed before we go to another body part, but for demonstration it's okay. So now you will be, as you can see, doing everything by hand, and as you can imagine, this takes a little bit of time. There is a way when you're exporting the final model and you have quad faces like this, and for game engine, as you know, you need trees. There is a button, for example, we go export, wavefront, and there you go, triangulate faces. So Blender will triangulate all the faces automatically, but there is no guarantee that all the reflections and all the positioning will be correct, because for example right now we are following this, let's say, Z pattern down here and this one up here, and if you would put those the other way around, or just this couple faces the other way around, then the reflection will be messed up right here, and you will have to fix it by hand, which we will also see. Let me just quickly connect this section so we can then use matcap and see exactly what I mean. We'll just go to here because it's taking a bit too long, so we're just gonna put the Z up there. Oh yeah, and you could also maybe still play with these if you were to make it rounder, like if you wanted to go a little bit, you know, in Z-axis inside here, like just a little bit, maybe have a little bit more flow, and perhaps this section could also be subdivided and edited if you would want it, like let's say have a more round full fill to it. But I think this looks fine the way it is, just needs a lot more detail compared to the Underground One original car, that is. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will answer them, or somebody else, if I don't know, will probably know the answer, because we have a couple skilled people around with much more experience than me, because I'm not doing this for that long, and I was studying all kinds of things to see what Blender has to offer. So, you know, I'm not really that experienced, but I try my best. So this section would be done, well, minus the polish because it's not there. But let's go to matcap and look at the reflections. For example, here we can see that this is messed up. This will need editing. Then, like I said before, these sections still need to be subdivided at least once, or if you follow this pattern, then this would end up somewhere here. Probably subdivided again here, so we have a little bit more control. Same goes for this area probably. Well, you basically see it on the go when you're editing. As you can see, this area still is a mess. It wasn't edited yet. And of course here it's not connected, so that's why this is messy. And the issue from before, I forgot, you know, when everything was, every second vertex that we were subdividing was facing inwards. Now the whole reflections are messed up because of that. So to demonstrate what I mentioned before, we will dissolve this and put this in the other way around. So now we should most probably see something with the reflections. Actually not. In this case we will not see it. Oh, actually you do. You see, if you go one step back, one forward, you can see it's different. Like sometimes you have to go from multiple angles to see what's happening. So this is depends, but yeah, you can see it. Usually this area gets problematic if you get it wrong. Sometimes it depends. For example, here it's not an issue, but for example this connecting this was a real nightmare. I really had to play around with this. If I would just connect it randomly, like it's already different, as you can see, but this is still not an issue. But in the first place I had issues. For example, I couldn't achieve this line, this flow. It was sometimes going down here, then here, and it was a thick line, then there was no line, because the original model, for example, was this. As you can see, exactly this was giving me trouble. It was ending here, and I have been looking at the stock body trying to achieve this, but I really had issues here. It wasn't just a simple subdivide, pull this out a little bit and there you go. Actually I have to figure out what to do here, like this whole mess, but in the end it worked out. As you can see, that's quite a difference. Same case will be here in the back. Well, as you can see, there is already improvement. Like this is boxy, this isn't already that much. It still needs processing, maybe one more subdivision, probably not, but definitely more fine-tuning when it comes to making a circle. And like I said before, I messed up this part where every second vertex was facing inside. That should not happen. If you fuck up somewhere, you just have to rewind back if you have enough memory, otherwise you have to start from the beginning. So this is unacceptable, but otherwise you still can see already the difference. So yeah, there is still quite a bit of work, and you can for example see here this. I was cutting the body, like this whole bottom section was used from the original Underground 1 car, and the hood, headlights and the roof and rear part was from the remastered car already. So for example, yeah, there you go. I separated the stock body car like this with seams and everything, so I in the end put whole this piece to the remastered car, and I also cut the same area of the other car. Quite a bit of work, and I was trying a couple things, but in the end this was the best solution. Like this, for example, is just the stock body car, but separated into pieces. Like it would be probably in the end, like these fenders would be combined with the side skirt. Front bumper will be separated probably like this, and the other car on the remastered one, but for now it's fine. So maybe we can still have a look at the front bumper like we mentioned before, what we could do here. So it's not just gonna be a simple subdivision. Well, we can do it real quick, like just for demonstration. First you have to delete those triangles, like the pieces that are connecting, but the other ones that are then making a cube, those have to stay. If I were to dissolve this, as you can see, we already lose the shape, so you have to be careful here and look what you're doing. So for example, right now we could subdivide it. I'll just try to select the faces and see what happens. Otherwise I will have to go for the edges. There is multiple ways of doing one thing usually. Yeah, not that. Actually, this is fine because we will need this loop cut. We will move it like this place, and then we will remove these carefully, of course, because as you can see, some are connecting to the edges. Those edges need to stay, and then we will have also to implement, for example, this whole line will go here. I will probably subdivide as well. Okay, let's get rid of this. Damn it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. This will be connected here, so we have to rework the whole this area. Then I can change this one, and probably one subdivision will go through this. But always when we are working on a car, we just work on one half. So this will be the part when we can also demonstrate the mirror part. But yeah, subdivision here, move this area more to that edge. Same will be here, so we will be smoothing out this section. Like for example, on this car, we could take this for example. As you can see, it will be at least like this, or better would be this. Yeah, like this. I'm not gonna go too crazy like this area, which is really done nicely. It was done by me, but it should do. It should do for this model. And removing some sharp lines, and that will be it. Now let's say we have already finished the front section, like this fender is done, and all those areas around the headlight, those are done, for example. So we will be separating the headlight first and hiding it. Then we could select the hood, and now we will split it in two pieces and then just mirror the right side to the left, remove doubles, recalculate, and we have a new hood, which will be the final production one. For that we go into perspective, actually no, orthographic. Usually I go for wireframe mode. For example, hood is just a plane. If it was front bumper, it also has some parts in the back, as you will see in a moment. So for that you definitely have to use wireframe mode, so you can select everything in front, in the back, and everywhere else. But you'll see what I mean in just a second. This would be it. Separate, go back, can delete that one. So we will, as you can see, cursor, it has to be in the center, and the part selected. Now we're ready to mirror. As you could see, let's do it again. For me, in this case, the orientation is made like this, that X and positive will go from left to right. In your case, it depends how the car is located or what you are doing, but you just have to find the right one. Otherwise you just hit the X there, go to object mode like this, and Control Z, so you go one step back, and you just repeat until you get the mirroring result like it's supposed to be, like this. You can't apply in edit mode, as you can see. You just have to go object mode, apply, select the hood. Now we can remove doubles, and the hood is ready. Now we will be separating the fender and front bumper, which usually would be already a separate piece, like you saw on the other cars. Like the cutting will be almost certainly right here. I didn't do it, but otherwise it would be prepared already. So right now I have to separate it by hand. So So ideally you have seams around your part and you don't have to do this. Here we are going to use wireframe mode, but you have to be careful. For example, if I would do it like this, also the whole this area would be selected, so really have to pay attention how I put it, so I don't select everything I don't need. But in this case we will just first separate the front and later on separate it again into half, and then we will just mirror one side and the new front will be ready. Damn it. That's what I meant with hand selecting. It can be really a pain sometimes. You really have to pay attention how you do it. Well, you can still manually then add, let's say I forgot one vertex here, I can still then later on add it, but it's just extra work. Unnecessary really. This looks fine. This is also one way to check it, otherwise there would be some floating faces somewhere. Actually, there you go, I forgot this one, and those from the hood. Those can be attached to the hood. This is a bit different. So I'll just select this. It's still part of the body. Just select that one. Actually, it's two. Separate. I can hide that one. No, that's a object of its own. We gonna connect it and remove W's in this case. There you go. So now we have the front section. Well, we have to separate. Actually, no, the headlight is fine. I don't need it. We would be still, like I said, separating the fender just for later, but in this case it's not important for me because this isn't the final production car. Then we go to wireframe mode, because as you can see there's something in the back. Let's actually just go for the front mode. Like in the case of the hood it was fine. Here you can see I didn't come quite to the back, couldn't do the bottom part, this wasn't selected. That's why wireframe mode is the way to go in this case, especially if you have more complicated parts. This one is pretty simple, but if it was a high poly then you would really have to use wireframe. Everything is clean, good. We don't need the other half. There you go. We can still just select this one like that. Now we will be just duplicating this one. There you go. And ideally this, in the end, when everything is made like it's supposed to be, this will be the final front bumper minus the fender, which will be body or side skirt for that matter, depends what you will agree on. But yeah, that's how you do it. We are still lacking a headlight, I believe. Yep. Mirror that as well, and that would be in the end the finished car, which will be included in the mod, of course, and like a couple modifications on the back and some more. But yeah, that would be it from the Civic improvement. Maybe I will do another short video on just showing the final car, pretty much like adjustments, what was done in this section, how I fixed this, how this looks in the end. Like this, for example, super boxy section will be interesting to do, that's for sure. And yeah, fixing this area, so maybe I'll just do a quickie on that one. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.